It was 8 p.m. The cold December winds were striking the window latch, creating an eerie sound. In front of him lay the black stretch of an H-43, which, in the yellow glow of the headlights, looked like a giant serpent slithering through the darkness. Aryan's work should have ended today, but an urgent parcel that arrived at the last moment had forced him onto this desolate mountain road. A small laughing Buddha placed on the dashboard shook with every pothole, as if mocking Aryan's helplessness. For the last 10 kilometers, his phone had been showing no service. He tried turning on the radio, but only harsh static crackled through the speakers. Who built a house in the middle of this jungle? And on top of that, today Google Maps seems determined to lead me straight to hell. Just then, he noticed a shape on the left side of the road. The fog was so dense that at first he thought a tree had fallen. But as the van drew closer, the headlights revealed a man. The man was sitting cross-legged on the ground, drawing strange lines in the dirt with a dry stick. His white hair flew wildly in the wind. Aryan slowed down. He thought it might be better to ask for directions. Baba? Baba, please listen. Is this the road to Simlaguda? The man lifted his head and burst into a terrifying laugh. Something about it made Aryan uneasy. But when Aryan looked carefully again, the man was standing normally beside the van. Maybe it was just my imagination, Aryan thought. He steadied himself and called out again, louder. Baba, please listen. Is this the road to Simlaguda? Roads don't end here, son, the man said. Here, only cycles begin. Turn back. There is still one line of time left. If you know the way, just tell me. Don't speak in riddles. It's already very late. It became late the moment you crossed that bridge. Go. Look for your world, if you can find it. Muttering to himself, Aryan rolled up the window and pressed the accelerator. He assumed the man was just a mad old hermit trying to scare him. But when he looked into the rear-view mirror, his blood ran cold. The man was gone. The road behind him was perfectly flat and empty, as if no one had ever been there. Suddenly, the fog thickened so much that he couldn't see anything beyond the hood of the van. He increased his speed. His heartbeat raced against the roar of the engine. After driving for about 20 minutes, he saw the same van ahead, the one with the scattered stones. Aryan's eyes widened in shock. On the same roadside, the same man was sitting again, drawing lines in the dirt with a stick. How is this possible? I drove straight. I didn't take any turn. How can this be the same place? He looked at his watch. It was 8:15. He had been driving for 20 minutes, yet he was back at the same spot. From within the fog came a slow, mocking laugh that seemed to pierce through the metal of the van and into Aryan's ears. His hands trembled on the steering wheel. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead.
The other Aryan began walking toward the van. His movements were unnatural, as if his bones were broken and his body was just a sack of flesh. Move away! Whoever you are, don't come near me. In terror, Aryan shifted gears and floored the accelerator. He thought the figure would move. It didn't. The van crashed into him at full speed. A horrifying thud echoed, like heavy flesh slamming into metal. Blood splattered across the windshield. With shaking hands, Aryan turned on the wipers. The blood cleared. The road ahead was empty again. No body, no trace. This is all in my head. Fog, exhaustion, that's all. I just want to go home. Then he heard scratching on the roof of the van, like nails trying to tear through metal. Suddenly, a hand appeared on the right window. It wore the same watch Aryan had on his wrist. The other Aryan was hanging upside down from the roof, gently caressing the glass. Where will you go, Aryan? Wherever you go, you'll find me. He slammed his head against the window. Cracks spread across the glass. Aryan violently swerved the van, trying to shake him off. But the creature clung on like a leech. Suddenly, the steering wheel turned left on its own. Aryan fought to straighten it, but it felt as if an invisible giant hand was forcing the van toward the ravine. The van left the road, crushing bushes, and finally stopped on a slope. The headlights now illuminated an old, decaying tree standing alone in the forest. A faded photograph was nailed to its bark, worn by rain and sun. Arian stepped out as if hypnotized and wiped the dust away. The picture became clear. It was his own photo. Below it was written, Aryan Sharma. Suara saat ini tidak mendukung bahasa balasan. Sepultanya dan gaukahan saat omdrek. A voice spoke from behind him. A man truly dies when he accepts his death, and you are still living in denial. Arian turned. No one was there. Only his wrecked van. And inside it, on the driver's seat, lay his own corpse, eyes half open. Blood pooled near the gear lever. If I'm dead, then why do I feel pain? He placed a hand on his chest. There was no heartbeat. The old man appeared again, floating in the darkness. This pain is born of your unfulfilled desires. That is how a Chakwa binds a soul. Suddenly, Aryan remembered the accident. The dense fog, the blinding headlights of an oncoming truck. The van skidding on the wet road. And the violent crash into the banyan tree. He finally understood. What he thought was a journey was nothing but an illusion after death. In the distance, ambulance lights flashed. Police covered his body. A constable said, Sir, where did this old brass coin come from? It was clutched in his hand. Aryan looked down. The same coin was in his own hand. He remembered earlier when he had stopped by a tree to relieve himself. He had found that coin on the ground and picked it up. It was an invitation from the Chakwa. Now you are part of this road. The fog thickened once more. And in the distance, a new vehicle approached.
From within the fog came a slow, mocking laugh that seemed to pierce through the metal of the van and into Aryan's ears. His hands trembled on the steering wheel. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead, sharp like needles of ice. He switched the headlights to high beam. Two bright rays struggled to cut through the thick fog. He didn't dare look toward the man. With a sudden jerk, he changed gears and sped away so fast that the tires screamed, tearing through the silence. This is just my imagination, he kept repeating to himself. Mountain roads often look the same. I'm just tired. For nearly 10 kilometers, he didn't let the speed drop below 80. Suddenly, a red scarf lay in the middle of the road. Aryan didn't stop. He drove over it. But 5 minutes later, the same red scarf glowed again in the headlights. His throat went dry. He kept driving. When the scarf appeared for the third time, he slammed the brakes. The van screeched to a halt. Aryan stepped out and picked up the scarf. The moment he touched it, it felt less like cloth and more like cold human skin. He panicked and threw it away. Then he heard rustling from the bushes by the roadside. Who's there? Look, I don't have money. It's just company cargo. Please let me go. A voice came from the bushes, a voice that made the ground slip from beneath his feet. It was his mother's voice. Aryan, son, where are you going so late at night? Come home. Dinner is getting cold. Aryan froze. His mother lived 200 kilometers away in the city. How could she be here in this terrifying forest? He switched on his torch and aimed it toward the sound. There was no one there, only dense trees swaying in the wind, like monsters stretching out their arms. This isn't possible. You can't be my mother. Whoever you are, come out. Slowly, an outline emerged from behind the bushes. It was his mother, the same blue sari, the same white hair, but when she stepped into the light, Aryan screamed. She had no eyes. In place of them were two deep black hollows, from which a dark liquid dripped. She smiled in a horrifying way. No, you're not my mother. He ran back into the van and locked the doors. Trembling, he tried calling his friend Samir. The phone rang. Hello, Aryan Bai. Where are you? Samir, I'm stuck, man. Something is terribly wrong here. I'm driving the same road again and again, and I'm seeing my mother. Relax, brother. Just turn around and look. I'm sitting right there on the back seat. Aryan's heart seemed to stop, very slowly. He looked into the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty, but Samir's laughter echoed from the phone. Suddenly, the screen went black. Then, in blood-red letters, a message appeared. Time over. He started the van and decided to drive in reverse, hoping that returning the way he came would free him from this trap. He reversed like a madman. After 5 minutes, the headlights illuminated the same mango tree and the same stones again, but this time standing in the middle of